All right, Jacksonville Jaguars fans, welcome into Duval Daily presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan Lugo. Thanks so much for being here. Tuesday, August 26th. We've got more roster cuts to talk about with your Jacksonville Jaguars. We talked about earlier Daniel Thomas, John Wolford, Jaguars moving on from both of those players. We've got several other names to look at here to talk about, and this is not going to be the final update. We will do an update later in the day where we kind of break it all down. But several names here popped up, so I figured it was worth doing another installment here. So we're going to dive into it. Really appreciate y'all being here. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. You can also check out genjag.com/shop. Pick up some new Duval gear like the hat I'm wearing right now. So again, Daniel Thomas, safety, released. John Wolford, quarterback, released. We now see Chad Muma, DeAndre Prince, running back Kevin Harris, safety Cameron Silman Craig, all getting cut by the Jaguars. Now it looks like Muma is being waived, and the difference between waive and release is a player that's released can go sign anywhere. If you get waived, you have to go through the waiver claims, and that basically is right now draft order, right? Whoever has the top waiver claim can claim you. If they don't, then the next team gets the option. Next team, right? So like the Jaguars, they held the 5th pick in the draft, so like they're 5 right now, and it'll be that way for the next several weeks early on in the 2025 regular season. But so Chad Muma, former 3rd-round pick, 2022. He's now the 2nd 3rd-round pick that's no longer with the Jaguars from that class. They traded Luke Fortner to the Saints for Colin Saunders. Chad Muma, they have waived, and I would expect to see him land somewhere else, but he's a player just never had a ton of opportunity here, but even when he did, he just didn't look exactly like the same guy you saw at Wyoming. And yeah, you could say, small school, NFL, big jump, and it is a big jump in competition, but I just didn't see some of the things that I saw on tape from him in the NFL. And it felt like a different player a little bit. And there's definitely some good things. I think he's smart. I think he can run and hit. But I felt like I saw more lateral agility and fluidity on tape at Wyoming than I have in Jacksonville. I'm not sure why that is. But he's somebody who in space often gets left grasping for air. I mean, you saw Bijan Robinson do it to him, he's done that to a lot of people. You can't feel too bad about that. But then you see it regularly when he's on the field. Just the inability to slow his feet, to move fluidly, to stop and redirect and make plays in space. And that's a difficult spot to be in. And then you also factor in the Jaguars have Foye Luke and they have Devin Lloyd. They drafted Ventrell Miller the year after taking Muma. They now have drafted Jack Kaiser as well. And now they also have a defense in which they're trying to kind of employ a hybrid Sam type position that's partially an edge rusher, partially a player who can drop back into coverage and play off the ball. And you easily see where Chad Muma just doesn't fit. And it felt like that could be the case throughout training camp. And then this last week or so, I mean, it became pretty clear, especially in that final preseason game in which he played the entire game, that he was not going to make the roster. I know Ian Rappaport tweeted out that it was a bit of a surprise. If you've been following this situation closely, if you've been sticking with us, it is not a surprise to see Chad Muma not making it in Jacksonville. Really nice guy. Again, I liked him a lot in the draft, and he had a lot of fans in the draft community, but did not work out quite for him the same way it did some other Wyoming greats. Obviously, Josh Allen, but even like, Logan Wilson, I felt like Chad Muma compared fairly favorably to Logan Wilson as a draft prospect, and it just didn't work out. So I think he'll have his opportunities to land somewhere else. I'd be surprised if he doesn't, but that's now a lot of Trent Baalke guys not sticking around. And there's another one as well. We're going to get to that. But first, want to remind y'all, football is back, folks. Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Y'all already know. I'm looking at the Jaguars and Panthers, talked about the Cowboys and Eagles yesterday, but Jaguars and Panthers, Trevor Lawrence to get higher than 13.5 rushing yards feels like a good one for me, right? I think, Lawrence moving around with those wheels, trying to make some plays in his first game in this new offense. I'm going higher on 13.5 rushing yards for Trevor Lawrence. Download the app today and sign up with promo code Duval Daily to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code Duval Daily. And again, Underdog, best user experience and user interface in the business, in my opinion. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog. Make picks, win money, must be 18 plus, 90 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. So the rest of these roster cuts for the Jaguars. Again, Chad Muma, Daniel Thomas, John Wolford. The Jaguars have also waived DeAndre Prince, who was a draft pick by the Jaguars just last year. And look, Prince is a guy who I think has a chance to make it as a back end of the roster corner in this league, but I don't think he quite showed the development from year 1 to year 2 that you would like. He does have a lot of athleticism. He has decent size. He made a lot of plays at Ole Miss in the SEC. He's made plays for the Jaguars during training camp and preseason at times, right? But not somebody who elevated his game enough to be above the likes of a Christian Braswell, former bulky pick, right? Christian Braswell, Jarian Jones, Buster Brown, who Buster Brown is currently still injured, out for training camp, and we'll see what his roster status is to start the year. I would not be surprised if he's on IR or PUP or something like that. But DeAndre Prince and then you talk about Tyson Campbell, Travis Hunter, Jordan Lewis. He was buried on the depth chart. DeAndre Prince was. And there's been a lot of attrition at corner. Thought maybe he would have an opportunity to step it up, and I just don't think that he stepped up enough to overtake, again, some of the guys on the roster that are going to make the roster in all likelihood. And I still would not be surprised if corner is a position the Jaguars add to here after roster cuts, because they have some versatility roster-wise, flexibility because of Travis Hunter's ability to play wide receiver and corner. That's 2 positions, but only 1 player. And they've had a lot of attrition at corner, as we talked about. Buster Brown, Levi Wallace went down. You had our guy who was making a lot of plays, number 34. Can't remember his name right now. Zechariah McPherson. He made a lot of plays for the Jaguars. He went down with injury. So it's just one of those things where I don't think that they feel comfortable enough prioritizing DeAndre Prince. He probably will be invited somewhere else or potentially make the practice squad here or somewhere else. So that'll be somebody to keep an eye on. Kevin Harris, the running back, the Jaguars literally signed him to come in and take some snaps during the final week of preseason, and that's exactly what he did. And I think he did a pretty good job for himself. Definitely didn't look out of his depth or anything like that. So somebody who, again, maybe could make a practice squad somewhere. That would be the hope, probably the best case scenario for him. And then Cameron Silman-Craig, who was an undrafted free agent out of Colorado this year by the Jacksonville Jaguars, a former teammate of Travis Hunter and BJ Green, who did a really good job on the edge for the Jaguars throughout training camp in the preseason. Silman-Craig, I think, led the team in tackles during preseason week 3, and he's a guy who, based on his tape and based on what you saw in Jacksonville, he is not afraid to fire downhill and come make plays, be aggressive. I think he just came into a room where, even though the Jaguars don't have like a really impressive group of top end safeties, they drafted two guys this year in Caleb Ransaw and Rayon Lane. They had holdovers that are guys that are good on special teams, that are, veterans. Eric Murray they brought in. They had Andrew Wingard. They had Darnell Savage. They had Antonio Johnson. They had Daniel Thomas, who they just moved on from. So just another room that was going to be tough to crack if you're an undrafted free agent. And that's exactly, I think, what happened here with Cameron, Silma, and Craig. And might as well pull up Twitter here at the end of the show, make sure nothing else has happened. And who knows, something probably has, quite frankly. Let's take a look. Not seeing anything yet. So we'll keep you updated throughout the rest of the day. And once the roster cuts are kind of made final and you see that 53, we'll go over it, have a good time. It's a tough day for a lot of people, losing jobs, trying to find different jobs, etc. But it is a necessary part of the NFL season, unfortunately, the way things work with the current CBA and agreement with the owners, and that's where we're at. Got to cut it down to 53. I wish the rosters were bigger. The good news, I guess, in quotes, you could say, practice squad, a lot of guys that are getting released, waived, cut, they will revert to practice squads. They couldn't get signed elsewhere, so it's not over in terms of their NFL dream, but it's still a tough day. So really appreciate y'all being here. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. Y'all have a good one.